Hi, this is Carol Parisi with Champion News for a special Champion News update alert. Illinois Pensions. This is a new book. This is a compelling new book by Bill Zettler, author Bill Zettler, and forwarded by our founder at Champion News, Jack Roser. Bill, thank you for being...
The publisher.
The publisher.
Right. The
Bill?
Genius of Zettler and all of the terrific facts. And we're the political end of what this guy has done a wonderful job of really making readable.
Now, Bill, what compelled you to write a book about pensions?
Well,
pensions are boring. Who cares?
They are boring. But I've been writing about them for, as Jack says, at least 6 years. So I've written over 150 individual articles, most of which have been published on Champion News on pensions. Mm-hmm. And it was actually Jack's idea. He said, why don't you put these together in a book? Because it would be a powerful tool for us. An education tool is what it really is. That's what I want it to be.
An education tool for folks to read. Okay.
And it's not a cover. It's not a front page to back page thing like Jack says. You can open it up any place and read. They're not. You don't have to read chapter 2 to understand chapter 3.
Every chapter is a story in itself.
Yeah, and there are a massive number of tables. There's over 100 pages of tables of numbers, so there's lots of numbers. And some people don't like numbers, but I try to lay them out so they're understandable. But you can actually see numbers and names of who's getting the money, why they're getting it, and what the problem really is. You'll understand the magnitude of the problem. The magnitude of the problem is underestimated. Everything you're reading in the paper, it's much worse.
Oh, come on. You sound like an extremist and alarmist. Why is it much worse? I mean, the numbers are the numbers. Do numbers lie? And is there a way to manipulate numbers?
Yeah, the numbers lie going forward. Because what you have to do with pensions, of course, you have to project, how am I going to pay the guy that retired today that lives as long as Jack, lives 40 years after he retires? So you have to project that a certain amount of money will be there when that person is 88 so you can pay his pension. And the way you do that is you make up numbers, is what I claim.
What is that called? Is that actuary work?
That's actuarial work, exactly right. So the actuaries, every year there's an actuarial report that has to be by law produced by every state pension fund. There's 5 state pension funds. So you get 5 actuarial reports that say, okay, I think that we will invest this way and we'll make this much money for 30 years, and that way we'll be able to pay Pat Quinn his pension.
So they're basing things on just arbitrary decisions. What are they looking at? How do they know how much interest they're going to make? Interest rates right now are like nothing.
There's wizards that handle this, and they're supposed to make conservative decisions on it because they're dealing with old people's income. So, but they've done the reverse.
Yeah, they don't use conservative financial projections. They use very liberal projections. For example, if I told you that I would take whatever amount of money you gave me and I would guarantee you 8.5% interest for the next 35 years, how much money would you give me? Would you give me every penny you had?
No.
Would you give me all your investment money for 8.5% a year, guaranteed?
For the next 35 years?
You can take it out before then, but I guarantee if you keep it in every year, you'll get 8.5%.
Starting today with the way interest rates are? Yeah, okay, as long as you guarantee me I get my
principal back. Where do you get that
back?
kind of guarantee in this world?
Well, only at the teacher's retirement system. They guarantee you 8.5% return every year forever.
But wait a second. Our interest rates right now, our interest rates are at what, 1%? Not even, I mean...
Less.
Less.
I can borrow money at less than 1%.
Okay, that's kind of, isn't that scary?
Well, that's probably your own money, Jack.
Where are they getting this 8% juice from? I'm confused.
Well, they have to take extreme financial risk. They are investing in derivatives. If everybody's heard about derivatives...
Let's have a little quick education on derivatives.
Well, derivatives are insurance bets. It's very complicated, but they're way out there. Derivatives are what dropped the Lehman Brothers in 2008. Okay, that's how far out they are. The teachers' retirement system is using that. Not a lot of them, but
they're putting retirement income in high-risk investment pools and portfolios.
They have to, because you can't get, as you said, you can't get 8.5% if you put it in CDs.
This is sounding like the real estate bubble to me on steroids.
It is exactly that. It's the next bubble.
You just don't get modern finance. You see, what the government fixed up with us with Barney Frank and that bunch of wonderful people that wanted to put everybody in a house that couldn't afford it. Mm-hmm. But if you take millions of mortgages that can't possibly be paid, and you package them up in bundles,
and you sell them.
And the whole of all these lousy mortgages, that's going to be a good investment. So you put that up into the big banks, and they sell that off.
Well, those are the collateralized debt obligations.
I can see you have no understanding that if you gather enough debt, that it's a plus.
Yeah. Right. No, I don't like debt. I really don't. I'm a deadbeat. I pay my credit card off every month.
Well, let me explain to you how the teacher's retirement system guarantees 8.5% return every year. You know how they guarantee it? No. They take it out of Jack's pocket, your pocket, and my pocket. They don't get it from investments. They can't get it from investments.
What do you mean they're taking it out of the taxpayer pocket?
Exactly right.
How are they doing it?
With taxes.
Why?
Every dime that is not made on that 8.5%, let's say it's 4%, is paid by the taxpayer, not the teachers. The teachers pay the same amount every year. If there's a differential, if they don't make 8.5%, we, the taxpayers, make up the difference.
This sounds like a slush fund where our tax money is going into slush
Bernie Madoff.
No wonder why Illinois can never have a balanced budget either. When was the last time we really had a budget here in Illinois?
There was a time when this came to a crisis, and the year was 1996. And in 1996, the cost of the pensions outran the ability of the local school districts to pay it, even though it was a great deal lower than what it is today. And the whole scheme hadn't yet started to roll. But it had rolled far enough with this vicious IEA union pushing it that the excesses of what they were doing, and you know, you can pay the pensions, that's somebody else's problem later. That's not today. And so you can do things until reality catches up with you. But in '96, it was obvious that they could no longer pay the pensions that they were giving away through the union. The union is saying, hello, teachers, we're going to make you happy with big pensions. And so they did that. But by '96, it got to where they couldn't pay into the funds for it enough to actually pay out the pensions. The whole thing at that point was actually, in real terms, bankrupt. So instead of trying to pay it locally, they passed it off to the legislature down there. And once they'd done that, these union-run idiots that are handling the pensions for all your local school districts, it's the union that has made the negotiation of what the pensions and salaries are going to be. As he says, if you give them higher salaries, you're going to get bigger pensions. And then they scammed it beyond that. And so from '96 on, these lunatics have been building this crash that can't be paid.
What is it, real quick?
2 points about that. Number one is in 1998, Jim Edgar raised the pensions by 17%.
Jim Edgar was a Republican.
Something that was on its way to going broke, he raised it up.
Jim Edgar was a Republican governor.
Yes, he was, and he's currently getting $311,000 a year from the state of Illinois via his pension and being a distinguished fellow.
Is that in the book?
Yes, a distinguished fellow at the University of Illinois, which involves nothing that I can track down.
Except the money going out.
But one more point, quick. In 1995, they set up a 50-year payment plan. You've probably heard about that in the newspapers. If the taxpayers made these payments over these number of years, the pension problem would be solved.
1995?
1995. From 1995 to 2011, taxpayers paid more than they were told they would have to pay in 1995.
For the duration?
Yes, we've overpaid. We've overpaid what we were told we were going to have to pay in 1995.
But that was a 50-year plan.
Right.
And we're already only, 20 years into the deal about?
Right.
18 years into the deal, and we've already paid over what we were initially said we were supposed to pay.
Yeah, and now they tell us we owe 80 billion more. We haven't paid enough. We paid more, but that's not enough. We want more and more and more.
The word scam is on here.
That is part of the scam. What those
guys did was a scam.
Taxpayers have overpaid for pensions, not underpaid. Taxpayers have paid 230% more than teachers have paid since 2000.
And the unions have been lying to everybody on the radio and otherwise. They're the biggest liars around, that when they say that the legislature didn't make the payments they were supposed to.
That's harsh.
Who could keep up with the scam the unions were running?
You know what? You got to get this book, Illinois Pension Scam. I think that we're going to have a lot more conversations on this. If you are a teacher, if you love a teacher, if you're an Illinois taxpayer, You're paying 230% more already than what you were promised 20 years ago. Maybe that is called a lie.
And currently on the Champion News homepage, if you can click, you can get the table of contents in here and see what we're talking about before you even buy it. You can get the introduction that I wrote, and you can get Jack's forward. So go to championnews.net, upper right-hand corner of the homepage. Click there, and you can get a preview.
Championnews.net or Amazon.com.
There's one more thing they can do. Hold on here. What he's done is given the significance of this thing pretty much as a whole. But if you go to Champion News and you go to the teacher's pay, you can find out the pay of all of the teacher that's in the kindergarten teaching your kids. You can find out where she went to school, what she does, what the whole school is doing, and what the pay is of any teacher or person that's supposedly managing this crazy system.
And if your neighbor's a teacher, you can check her pension if they're retired.
Yeah, every person that's part of this, the beneficiaries of the scam, you can find on our website. And
working or retired individuals.
Working or retired, they're all there. And for quite some years, we used to get a lot of calls saying that you don't have the right facts. Our pay isn't really that much. But we get our pay from the TRS, which is the Teachers Retirement System, and it's the one place where you get the truth about what the salaries and pensions are, because you sure aren't going to get it from your own superintendent. That is, those guys are, I've never met one that wasn't an expert in obfuscation. That means he weren't telling you the truth.
Well, Jack Roser, Champion News and Family Taxpayer Foundation, has been championing transparency for teachers and salaries for over 15 years. He was the pioneer in doing this.